again.
My man, back again with another one.
I know, man. What is this? This 15, 16?
I believe 16. Yeah, they're flying by,
Yeah.
approaching the 20 mark. Um, yeah, man. Spoiler alert for those listening. Our 20th episode, we'll have our first guest on, so we're excited about that. But yeah, man. Good to be talking with you again. Just sitting here after work, kind of catching up on some stuff. Reading about this Olympics, man. Olympics 2024 in Paris. Simone Biles crushing it. She's just so good at what she does. Duplantis, shout out LSU. He set Olympic record and then a world record, which is pretty cool to see. Uh, yeah, man. Have you seen the? Have you gotten to watch any of that yet?
Yeah. I watched a couple clips. Seen Noah win. And I believe that was the 200. Yeah. Yeah, it's been cool. What I enjoy doing is seeing just these weird sports, like the homeboy from Turkey just going out there and just just raw dogging a shot, the fencing. I see they're emoting now in fencing. You know, the old just jumping up and down like we're on Street Fighter to win. Yeah, it's been cool to see. China's crushing it. I think they have the most gold medals right now. That's interesting. Games like this, as we were talking, uh, we're not super on our George Washington tip usually, but in moments like this, you suddenly become patriotic and want to root for your teams or root for your country. So it's been cool to see. It's been cool.
Yeah, man. And from a, creative standpoint, I think, to touch on real quick like the just the identity around the Olympics and, the logo itself and how they really outdo it every year, from what the athletes are wearing from day one to the open ceremony to the whole it's a whole event, right? It's a package deal. But in terms of like the logo, we were talking off air about it. I just think it's so interesting how such a simple logo, just five circles, has become just so it's a staple, right? People recognize what it is wherever it is. It's it represents inclusiveness, just the unity, right? All of these just nations just coming together for this this a big event. So, my question to you is, why does it work so well, right? So, why is this something that an athlete will go and tattoo on their skin after competing? Now, I do think obviously, their journey to get to a stage like this explains the reasoning for the tattoo itself. I'm not trying to depict the logo like why does this logo work as a tattoo, but because the logo is so simple, there is no second guess when it comes to like, is this worth getting on my skin? Because it is, no matter what the logo is. So that being said, why does this work so well? You think is it the colors? Is it the just how uniform it is? What works here?
Well, it's really not even about the logo. The logo could be anything. It's the fact that it's supposedly, created back in Olympia and Greece and BC, whatever, 8th century BC, and it has that story. It's something that's been around for our lifetime. It feels like forever. It's something that's connected to so many different countries. Most of these countries don't like each other, don't play well with each other any other time. But when it comes time for this, uh, basically ancient games that's been going on since before even these countries that exist now even existed. Um, it's that story, that history, that's the brand. When you have that type of weight to it, in your brand, the logo really doesn't matter. It can be simple when you have nothing going on, when you're a new business, a new company, a new whatever, and you don't really have anything. You have to kind of oversell with that logo. It has to connect. But when like I said, this thing's been around since literally forever, right? The logo's simple. You need it to be simple, so because it needs to be recognizable across all languages, countries, cultures, everybody, everywhere, in every country. They know that logo. They know what it means. They know who their Olympians are. So it's just it can do that. Certain brands can do that. LV can do that. Apple can do that. Gucci can do that. Hell, we do that with flags. Like we can just start pulling out flags, and we'll know exact. Well, for the most part, we'll know where that flag derives from. It's one of those iconic symbols, iconography that when this whole thing is over, and those whoever those new human beings are, they'll be able to dig and they'll find that symbol, and they'll know about that game. Hell, this game will probably outlast the nations that exist right now. So, um, and it's very interesting. I was reading an article, or was I hearing an article? Was I listening to a podcast? I don't know where I got this information from, but we'll fact check it. The Wait, did you tell me about this? I don't know, but let's see. So it was something along the lines of the English that was spoken 100 years, 200 years, hell, 300 years ago is unrecognizable to us. Like if we hopped in a time machine, went to 1692, we wouldn't know what the hell they were saying, even though they were speaking English. And because of movies, we think we would know what they're saying, but in reality, we don't. You know what's one word we would know? The Olympics. Like that's one of the things that will kind of last. Like if we go back in time and start talking about iPads and Hyundai Sonatas, and they were like, "What the fuck is a Hyundai Sonata? A Toyota? Uh, what's a lituation? Tati, a Trisha, or just weird stuff. They wouldn't know what that is, but the word Olympia, Olympics, it just stands the test of time. So that history is amazing, and their system, their design system, is also amazing. That those brand guidelines is like crazy.
Yeah. No, yeah, we'll throw up a few slides from their brand guidelines. It's at 136 pages, so it's very thorough and thought out. Definitely a whole system there, and I think you're right. I think it's like interesting because there's so much bullshit going on in the world, but like just pure competition and to test these athletes that have trained their entire lives to get to a stage like this, a lot of that's just put to rest for a couple weeks, and it's pretty cool to see. You see um, people become patriotic and support their country at these events. And yeah, I mean, what else have you seen? So I know you told me about the Ralph Lauren, how they do like the fits and all that.
Yeah, that's been cool to see. So sidebar, the rings, just for those listening, represent the different continents. It's more than five continents, but I think they kind of pair two of them up together. But they are supposed to represent the continents. And what's dope is seeing all these different countries design, their own fashion, their own uniforms for the games. I think that's real dope. And of course, here in U.S., we went with Ralph Lauren. to design that look, and it's pretty cool. It looks good. I've kind of moved away from my Ralph Lauren stuff. I was really big into that when I was younger, but it's definitely it definitely represents USA for sure. Very waspy, very like I don't know, like northeastern, I guess, Hamptons look. Very on brand for Ralph Lauren, and it's yeah, it's definitely dope. Um, did Kith? Let me look into this. But I think what did Kith do? I think Kith did something as well.
Yeah, it's cool because like it's such a big event where it's like everyone wants to put their best foot forward. So like, they tap Ralph Lauren on the shoulder and like, hey, we want you to do this. I'm sure that goes for every other country, with their, tailors and all that shit, right? They put their best people on the job for the fits, the equipment, photography, across the board. So yeah, cool to see. Look, we'll throw some photos up. The coats, the jackets, the hats, all the. It's cool.
Yeah. Let's throw some of that Kith up too. Their heritage collection looks pretty good. Um, their Montreal 1976 looks great. But I'm not a big sports guy, but it's cool to just see all these people compete. Is a great distraction uh, right now in the world. But I just like seeing these just sports that I don't think about ever. It's crazy to think. Who are these people outside of the games? The dedication. They don't have the fame or the money always, but they show up every 4 years and can compete at the highest level. That's something to salute for sure.
Oh yeah, and like I know we're just kind of talking about the logo, us being designers and stuff, and I'm sure a lot of people just don't even think about it. But like you said, I think that's the point. It's supposed to be so simple to where really what's most important is like the skill of these athletes in the competition and everyone rooting for them. So yeah, yeah, I think it's closing out now, a few more days of the Olympics, but yeah, cool to see. Uh, yeah, man, moving along here. So I sent you this article on the car navigation versus car play. What I mean by this is like obviously cars, it's a car is a computer, right? But it has the navigation system built in on a a HUD display or the screen display, and I think I don't know when, but it became just the standard to just drop that and use your iPhone, right, on a little mount on your air vent or whatever. What happened? Like, how did we? Is that just because we're so used to the ecosystem? We're used to using that when we're out on the go to find a coffee shop near us, and it's like, okay, we trust the navigation system when on foot or whatever, so we might as well use it in the vehicle, right? When does that because I don't drive. I don't have a vehicle. You yourself, you drive. You have a vehicle. What are your thoughts on that? Does your car have a navigation system built in? Would you even use it if it did? Like what are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I have Apple CarPlay that's built in, um, and yeah, it's cool. Um, I definitely remember the days of maps. I remember the days of MapQuest having to fucking print out instructions on how to get places. Um, I'm a pretty good driver. There was a time where I was like, man, I can really do this truck driving thing. Like I can get it done. I've drove some miles. I've used to ride a motorcycle at one point. So I definitely went through. There was a period. They just I don't want to age myself too much, but it was no phone. right? And then on a motorcycle, I just would put headphones on, like Apple headphones that would just read. It would just tell me the instructions as I went. I also remember buying navigations, like a literal little square Garmin joint, and putting it on in your car. Um, yeah, it was, man. That was a time. I mess with CarPlay. CarPlay's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's weird because it's still your phone. It's just or your car, right? So like you pick up your phone, it's still the directions is on your phone, but man, I can't drive without it. Like, not that I don't know where I'm going. Sometimes I don't know where I'm going. And I think that's the drawback. Like basic things you just like forget. Like I'm here in Houston. I pretty much know it's Richmond, Westheimer, San Felipe, and I kind of stay in a certain area. So if I'm lost, I see, okay, that's Richmond. So I go up two streets, So that's kind of how I play it. I don't really go that far anywhere else. But CarPlay is pretty dope. I just can't see manufacturers building a car without it. Like, I think, like, people just need it. You know what I'm saying? You just need it at this point. To not have it, it would feel uncomfortable. I get in my car, I wait, let it connect, then I flip it to, what is it? Young B cruising down the west side high. Wait, that's how I have to roll, bro. I have to roll like that. Car play, I go straight to that. So
Yeah.
it's just a must. I don't like to just be raw dogging it on the road, just nothing, no music, no GPS. Hey, that's some vintage driving right there. You might need to get pulled over. Don't tell me you're out here just driving like that, bro. No music, no nothing.
No, no, I can't do that. I just saw there had a meme going around not too long ago about people taking flights like that,
Oh my
like
god.
raw dog in a flight, basically
Yeah,
like sitting there with no input,
yeah.
no music, nothing to watch and stuff. You can drive yourself crazy doing that shit. But yeah, I just think it's interesting because I don't think you're off base at all. I think like if the vehicle doesn't have it, it's it's something to think about. I think it's interesting how like the UI on the iPhone has become so familiar and intuitive and like just the norm. Now it's in the vehicle and like people immediately trust it. They see the little rounded fucking rectangle, search squares for the UI, and they feel this familiarity. That's like, oh, okay, cool. This is nice. So, and speaking of Apple Maps, on the 24th, not too long ago, Apple Maps launched on the web, which is, I thought it was a interesting call out just because I think like Google Maps has just kind of ruled that world for years and years, just browsing a map, on the web or Google Earth or whatever. So to have Apple Maps on a web application, just more to see, more to do on your computer. I think it's like just more to work with, and I think they're just trying to launch that to combat Google Maps. So,
I wonder if you can
um,
put that on a website instead of using the Google
mm,
Map. I wonder if you can do that, or yeah, that's real interesting. I need to look more into what that looks like. But
have we talked about Google Maps UI versus Apple Maps UI?
we haven't, but Google kind of sucks, and it used to be so
Yeah.
amazing. It used to be
Yeah.
like the standard, right? And it's just so much shit just in it, just everywhere. That and I mean, you can use it on CarPlay, and I don't. I use Apple Maps, and yeah, just again the simplicity. It's just so much better. I don't know how or when Apple started to just really put their system together for maps, but Yeah, it's just perfect. It's just too much information on Google Maps. Like I don't need to know every Taco Cabana and you know what I'm saying? Like I don't need to know every thing that's going on. Oh man, I might need to get some Taco Cabana right now. Yeah, Google Maps, man, that shit trash, man. I don't know what happened. I was a big fan of Google apps and just their software, and it's like I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and well, it's funny you mentioned that, bro. So, this is uh, a topic that we've touched on before, and I have to say I don't think we won't ever talk about it, but productivity apps is a big thing that we've discussed both on air and off air, and I think it'll always be something that I like want to keep thinking about because I think that I'll never be comfortable with just a set standard of tools. So I've been going back and forth between using reminders, Apple iOS native app, and paired with that and Apple Calendar slash Notion Calendar. But I've been more so doing Notion and Notion Calendar because I can schedule my task in Notion that'll populate on my Notion calendar. However, just as of like 2 days ago, I discovered Google Tasks, and those populate on my Google Calendar as just tasks, and I can date them and time. So I'm like, what the like? This is kind of nice. However, Google Tasks they just have a iOS app. They don't have a Mac OS app. And I love having a. I don't like doing shit in the browser every time, you know. So I'm back to fucking Notion and Notion Calendar. So yeah, just a little side route there. Google Tasks seems pretty clutch how they populate on your Google Calendar, but uh, yeah, no, real quick on that, the Google Maps versus Apple Maps piece. I think a lot of people, I think my dad is like one of those people. He uses the maps in the satellite view. I don't see the appeal there. I'm guessing there's a lot of other people like that, but yeah, there's just too much going on with the Google Maps UI, and uh, yeah, I think Apple Maps I think that's a hot take, honestly. I think they're underrated, but uh, cool. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to fuck with this on the web.
You know what suck? You know what's always scary about CarPlay is, let's say you're in a car with a shorty, you driving, fucking text messages can just pop up. Just messages from Juanita. And it's like right there, 4K, high definition, Apple UI. She has the iPhone. She knows what this is, message, right? And if you hit it, Siri might start reading the message. That's scary. That's dangerous, right? Like that's not what you want going on. Calendar notifications. You get calendar updates. Hey, you're taking supplements. You're doing this. Your next appointment. Invasion of privacy is what's happening with the CarPlay. If you got certain people in the car, one thing I noticed with my new vehicle turns off anytime I stop. Just turns the fuck off, and I have to put my foot on the gas. It comes back on. Doesn't I'm literally always turning it off. It's right after I let CarPlay connect. I make sure to turn that feature off. Heated seats might be cool somewhere in Minnesota, but if you're a man like myself and you like the rump shakers, right? You like the girls with a little something back there. You don't want that meat cooking like you're at hibachi, right? You don't want that. You want to get it warmed up. That used to be my thing in the motorcycle game. You get a woman on the back of a bike, get them ready to go. But in these newfangled cars, it's just too much going on. Your car stopping, messages popping up, you're cooking her butt. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. So I recommend for everyone out there, go get you a 1997 Honda Accord and just chill. Don't do too much. Get you a Garmin. You know what I'm saying? Get you a MapQuest and just cool out. You don't need to move on to new technology. Just leave that game to the men in monogamous relationships, soccer moms, and just cool out.
There you go. I think the only time I ever used heated seats was in Baton Rouge in 2016 to keep my Raising Cane's warm on the way home.
Damn,
Uh,
Razor Cane sounds good too. The fuck.
uh, but cool, man. Yeah, well, let's close this up out, man. Those are some recommendations. Um, I'll lead this one. I think I've been making you lead last two. So I'm gonna go with. I thought about this earlier. I almost sent you this post. They were kind of breaking down like keyboards, ergonomic keyboards. My recommendation would be more of a broad sense, but like office ergonomics. So, and I recommend that because if you're like Melton and I, who live at our computers every day, I think it's important as human beings to acknowledge the fact that it's not healthy to sit at a computer all day every day, and across the board, feet up, just looking out for yourself. So, some precautions that I put into place. So I have a standing desk that I probably should stand at more often. I stand at most of my meetings and occasionally throughout the day, but I know I need to stand more. I have this Logitech MX vertical mouse. I can't live without this thing. Uh, it has you can rotate between three different devices. So I have my work computer, my PC, and then my MacBook all programmed there. Um, and then just the general practice of like getting up every now and then, walking around, doing some push ups or some shit. Just like get your body moving. I think uh, I know it's kind of like a basic recommendation, but I think people that work remote and work that are just computer geeks like us, they kind of lose sight of that and kind of crunch like this with their back hunched over for so long. I'm very much guilty of it. So yeah, I'll just recommend you just I'm not saying go buy one of those little treadmills that you walk on during the meeting and distract everyone, but
Yeah,
uh, yeah, just look out for yourself. If you're gonna adopt the life of working remote and a digital nomad or whatever it may be, just working at a computer all day, make sure you're getting that blood flow in your body. Make sure you're moving after post work. Go hit the treadmill, go on the bike, go for your little walk, whatever. Yeah, that's my rec.
yeah, that's great, man. For sure. I need to do more of that. Um, yeah, that's I try to walk every morning to get at least a coffee. Just walk my neighborhood. I love apples. God, man, we glaze apple, but I like the apple feature. Just the walk workout feature. That's pretty cool. So yeah, for sure, for sure. My recommendation this week is about, since we're talking about Ralph Lauren, about upscaling merchandise using fashion and graphic design. And I'm making it sound fancy by saying upscaling merchandise or just crafting sustainable stories through fashion. We're swaggy guys, like taking material and just making it new, more than just thrifting, but actually taking um, you know uh, stuff from a couch or bedding, and just making clothes with it, working with other fashion designers, graphic designers, coming together and coming up with concepts. Fashion is a very destructive industry to our society, to our world. People just buy a t-shirt and they throw it away. Hell, there's of course whole businesses about just reselling clothes that are perfectly fine, right? They're perfectly fine. So figuring out how we can create a more circular economy around these garments and fashion and just put them to more use, and keep them longer and be more sustainable with the fashion that we're promoting or using. I think that would be something more of us should think about, look into, uh, yeah, and using design principles as a way to communicate that. I think that would be something we all should just explore the next time we're at a thrift store where, and our girl or your partner is dragging you through Forever 21. Think more about how we have pieces at home that we can do something with.
Nice. Yeah, I love that. I do. I go through like kind of phases of appreciation for what I step out into the world wearing, right? I think like right now I'm like white tee, black tee, right? Not putting too much thought into it, but then I'll go through phases of like wanting to have so much more fun and be more elaborate and have some character to it. So no, I like hearing you talk about like the collaboration between teams and skill sets to really elevate what you define as fucking game changing in the scene, because you see a lot of the same streetwear shit. I think it's very saturated, but you also see people breaking out that are doing like stitch work that you've never seen before. So
That's a
yeah,
fact.
I'd love honestly to do more research on this and just like if there's someone that we can maybe bring on the show or highlight an up and coming fashion brand that's really just excelling in the space doing their own thing. They're not just screen printing a logo on a Gildan tee, right?
Right.
They're just doing more and really pushing the limits. So yeah, no, I love that. I wasn't expecting that one at all. It was cool. uh cool, man. Well, yeah, another episode in the books. I hope those listening, I hope y'all are appreciating the recommendations. I think it's a fun kind of exercise for Melton and I every week to kind of uh, think about something that we care enough about to push out into the world. That if you want to take the rec and go along with it, that's cool. If you don't care, that's cool. But we're gonna keep doing them. So yeah, we appreciate you all for listening. This has been another episode of Brick Talk. Again, these are every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Time, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Any last words for the people, Mel?
Hey, same as last week. Get low. You just gotta get low and get get to the money. Practice harm reduction in a responsible way. Start looking into changing your behavior. Change behavior when it comes to your purchasing and understanding. Your buying power and how we'll save that for the next episode. Yeah, we're about to get too deep, but yeah, peace out, get low, and build it brick by brick
Brick by brick.
for sure.
Appreciate you.